Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be going over how you can perfect your bench technique. So before I start this video, you're going to have to learn the different types of benches and different types of equipment used while benching. So there are 3 different types of benches, which are a fat pad, a competition pad, or a commercial gym bench. So for a fat pad, it's going to be a lot thicker and have more width to it, and it's going to be more grippy for when you're benching, so you're not going to be sliding around. A comp bench is much thinner. Muscle gym bench is even thinner and smaller, and it's going to be even more slippy. So if you're a competitive powerlifter, always use the comp pad, but then also if you are a powerlifter and you're in the off season, or you're just someone who wants to gain more strength, use the fat pad as you will lift more weight. Okay, so now moving on to the next part, which is going to be grip width. If you're a competitive powerlifter, the max grip you can do is your first finger or index finger on the ring. Some people may prefer a max grip or wider grip, as it's going to be less range of motion and your elbows and your wrists are going to be stacked, so it's going to be in a better position for pressing. But some people might prefer a medium or a closer grip because they feel they're stronger in that position. So if you're a new lifter, I'd recommend you use a medium grip to start off, and then either move your hands out wider or closer depending on how it feels. And then just take some time to try and find out which one works best for you. I'd recommend if you're a competitive powerlifter and you've been training for multiple years, use max grip, as the benefits outweigh any of the negatives. And so getting into the bench setup. So for the setup, you're going to want to get onto your tiptoes and dig your traps into the bench. And then once you're doing this, you're going to want to set your feet down into the position that you prefer. You can either have a closer, a medium stance, or a wider stance. Try and find one which works for you and you can push the most power through, and the one that feels the most comfortable. And then once your heels are down on the floor, especially if you're an IPF competitor, you will have to have your heels on the floor, and just in general, I'd recommend your heels on the floor. You'll get into the part of unracking the bar. So when you're unracking the bar, you're either going to want to have a self handoff or get someone to hand it off for you. The benefits of a self handoff is it's going to be more consistent and you're going to know what the weight feels like before you lift it. And then the benefits of someone racking off the bar to you is you're not going to have to lift the weight off, so you might save some energy, and then some people might prefer it. But I would try both of them and see which one you prefer. And then in terms of the descent and the way down, you're going to want to start when the bar is over your upper chest and then end when the bar is just below your pec. And also during the descent, you're going to want to flare your elbows a bit more so your wrists and elbows are stacked, and this is going to be a stronger position to push from. A cue that you can use to help you flare your elbows more is either spread the bar, or you can learn bulldog grip, which is going to cause more internal rotation at the shoulder, which is going to cause more flaring. And during the descent, some people may prefer a slower tempo, and then you're going to get a faster press command in the competition, but some people might want a faster tempo and you have a slower press command in competition. Usually you want somewhere in the middle where it isn't too slow, you're not wasting energy, but it isn't too fast where you're losing all position. And then for the way up, you're going to want to push in an arcing motion, so you're pushing up, but then also slightly back, and this is going to be a much better position to push in. And now getting onto leg drive, which is a big important part of bench. After the setup, you've dug your traps into the bench and you've put your heels on the floor, you're going to want to use your whole foot, try and push yourself down the bench towards the rack. And doing this, you create way more stability and you're going to be able to push a lot more weight. And then now onto the next part, the rules for competition bench press. You have 4 points of contact: your feet, your ass, your back, and then also your head. Your heels have to stay flat on the floor. You need to be in contact with either the floor for your feet or the bench for the rest of the other ones for your lift account. So the 3 commands you're going to get is start, press, and rack. You're going to get the start command once you have your elbows locked. Then you'll get the press command once the bar is stationary on your chest. And then you get the rack command when your elbows are locked out. You'll get red lighted if any of the 4 points of contact leave the floor or move. And then you'll also get red lighted for missing commands or downward motion. And then moving on to common misconceptions for bench press. The first one is going to be tucking your elbows too much. I see a lot of lifters tuck their elbows too much when they bench. So then when they do that, the elbows are not stacked with the wrist and you're going to be in a much weaker position than you would be if your elbows were flared. To fix this, you're going to want to have more internal rotation, so you flare your elbows more. So you can either do this by changing your grip to either bulldog or Japanese grip. That can also reduce range of motion and put you in a stronger pressing position. Or you can use cues like trying to spread the bar, which can flare your elbows a bit more to then get you into that good position. The next common misconception is leg drive. Most people think with leg drive you need to push up, which causes their bum to leave the bench. But instead you want to try and push yourself down the bench towards the rack, and in doing so you're going to create more power and stability, and your ass will not come off the bench. It won't fail your lift in a competition. Then the final misconception is that arching is cheating. So when you arch, you obviously reduce the range of motion, but your shoulders are going to be in a more healthy and stronger position, and you're also going to be able to lift more weight, and you're going to reduce the risk of injury, especially for your shoulders. So even if you aren't a competitive powerlifter, arch the tiniest bit, just your shoulders back into a stronger and better position. Then obviously if you are a powerlifter and you compete in the IPF, you can arch, but not to the extent where the elbow does not go below the top of your shoulder joint. And if you guys are wanting to join my fitness community, which is only £1 a month, please click the link down below in my bio. The offer is going to run out soon, so get to it before it ends.